Hi, I'm making this video for some of my little princesses out there because a lot of people wondered how I got started smoking, and I've told the story before, but it's long since gone off of YouTube. But it's something that I want you men to be aware of, how this affects little girls. My dad smoked a pipe all my life, and as I was growing up, I got in trouble. This is how I got my first pipe. I had bubble pipe, and I took my bubble pipe when I was 4 years old, and I took my bubble pipe and I put it into his jars of tobacco, filling my pipe. So when he got home, of course, here was jars of tobacco that I had taken a uncleaned bubble pipe and put in there, and I guess I messed up a little bit of his tobacco. So he said, if you're going to smoke a pipe, you're going to do it right. And so he got me a little Medico. And he also bought me, at the same time he got me a Medico, he got me an apple Dunhill, a small apple Dunhill. And the apple Dunhill he set up on the shelf, and he gave me the Medico. And he said I could have that to play with. And he also got me a couple pouches of tobacco. So I had my own little pouches of tobacco. Now, I couldn't light my pipe, but I would go around when him and his friends were around, and I would load up my pipe, and I would sit around with them smoking my pipe with them. And as I got older, my dad taught me how to load a pipe. And so I would load up his pipe for him, and if it didn't do it right, I'd have to dump it out and do it again. And in some ways that was a good thing, because I always got to sit in the front seat when we would travel on long trips, because my mom didn't want to mess with loading his pipes for him. So I would get to sit in the front seat and load his pipes while we were traveling. So I always got the best. I always got to ride shotgun. It was great. I always got the front seat. But my dad traveled a lot when we were young, and we got to travel a lot with him. But when we weren't traveling with him, when he was home, he would blow smoke rings. And every night before we went to bed, us girls, there's 3 daughters, we would go in there, and Dad would smoke big clouds of smoke and smoke rings. And we would dance around in our nightgowns in the smoke. And what he told us is he was monster-proofing us. And so, we would go to bed with the smell of that tobacco in our nightgowns, and it was always just so wonderful, because at night, whenever you needed a hug, all you had to do was just smell your nightgown, and it was like getting a hug from Dad. And it worked, because I was never ever once even attacked by monsters. So monster proofing worked, so that's how I grew up. I grew up with tobacco, and I grew up with a dad that smoked a pipe, and like say at nighttime when he was there, he would monster proof us. And before he would go on a trip and stuff, we would get around him a whole lot and get our clothes just saturated with that smell. And we would have to argue with Mom about washing our nightgowns, because we didn't want her to wash the smell out of our nightgowns. So we would hide our nightgowns from her under our pillows and under our beds and stuff, so that we could keep the smell of Dad when he was on his trips. So for all of those men that have daughters, don't shy away from them with your tobacco smoke. Monster proof them. Make that part of their lives too, because you want to be the most important thing in their life when they grow up. So you never know, if you are smoking around them and the tobacco smoke, there'll be a day when they will walk by a man, and that smell will be clinging to him, the tobacco smell, and it'll bring back this wonderful memory of you. And so I'm always urging a lot of the younger guys that I know that smoke pipes and stuff, don't hide from your children with this. This is something that they will learn as, public opinion of it. That comes quick enough. But right now, teach them to enjoy that smell and that smoke, and make sure that all the little princesses eventually become a queen of their own. It's kind of like there's a lot of things in my life that my folks did that was so wonderful for me as an older person. When I was young, when we turned 13, my mom and dad gave each of us a little diamond ring, and all 3 of us girls had 3 little diamond chips and these 3 little rings. And it was because my dad wanted to be the first man to give us a diamond. He didn't want us to wait for some other man to give us a diamond. And when we graduated, we got our pearl necklaces, real pearl necklaces. Because in those days, because you gotta remember, I'm a little bit older, the customary gift for a groom to give the bride was a set of pearls. And my dad didn't think that any of us girls needed to wait to get married to get our pearls. So, and that's the same way with the pipes. You know, my dad, I was the one that followed my dad's footsteps. I was a daddy's girl. Although both of my sisters think they were his favorite, I know I was. So, monster-proof your daughters, monster-proof your kids, because one day there's going to be a time when they will smell that, the most wonderful memories. So, happy, happy, joy, joy. You know I'm watching you.